Hello and welcome back to 4FS Gaming. In this video, I'm going to discuss 5 noob traps in Hunt Showdown. What do I mean by a noob trap? Well, these are tactics or equipment that new players seem to really love, and often they're actually not that good. Now this doesn't mean that everything on this list is bad. Actually, some of the items are great if you know what you're doing, but for new players, they can be more of a curse than a blessing. Remember to check us out on Twitch TV/4FS Gaming. We're going to be streaming more and more over the next month or two, so come and say hello. Let's get started with noob trap number 1. Silenced weapons. Don't get me wrong, silenced weapons are rather viable after update 1.3. They're not exactly top tier, but they're certainly not bad. Still, every time that I see a new player taking a silenced Winnie on a Gant every single match, I can't help but cringe a little bit. You see, there are a few reasons why they aren't really suitable for new players. And to start with, they're not really that silent at all. You can hear silent shots within the same compound, and even at longer ranges the bullet whizzing past you is audible, and most players will be able to quickly locate the position of a silent shooter. Having a silent weapon also seems to make players shoot literally everything, from grunts to lanterns to horses. This makes you far less stealthy than if you had just ignored and avoided all of the AI and the sound traps, because those dying grunts can be heard from very far away. Then, silenced weapons do undoubtedly put you at a disadvantage in a fight. They do less damage, have less range, and the projectile travels much slower than their loud counterparts. Once you have bounty, or the enemy has bounty, or you are in a full-on fight and your position is known, there is zero benefit left to that silencer and it only makes your life harder. I personally enjoy silenced weapons and they can be very nasty when used from the appropriate range with correct positioning, but new players seldom exhibit the map knowledge needed to reap the benefits of these weapons, and then they find themselves simply disadvantaged in a fight. It also acts as a crutch, and new players that use silenced weapons can take much longer to learn how to properly deal with monsters across the map. You don't need a silenced pistol for that hive or that pack of dogs. Your standard knife is certainly good enough, if not better in most situations. And that brings me to number 2, the heavy knife. The game and the store stat make it pretty clear that the heavy knife is a straight up improvement on the normal knife, so a lot of new players start carrying it once it's unlocked. The thing is, it's not an improvement. In a comparison, the heavy knife is stronger against grunts because you can light attack them to the head for instant death, but it's certainly not as good against packs of dogs as the light attack won't cut it and the heavy costs a lot more stamina, and it's also less efficient against armoreds. It takes a full stamina bar to take one down, while the normal knife can do the trick with one stab remaining. The difference is that the heavy knife only slashes for rending damage, which is bad against armoreds, although it does cause bleeding on hunters, and the normal knife gets a piercing stab attack as its heavy strike. This is not only easier to land, but it also has a bit more range. The basic knife is the best melee tool in Hunt. I know some people love the dusters, but you have to ask yourself what is the most dangerous thing that you need to kill with your melee tool. It's going to be those packs of 4 dogs that come charging at you, or hunters that get too close and then you need to do a panic stab when you're out of ammo. In both of these cases, the normal knife is by far the most efficient. As for immolators, they're not an issue at all. It takes 4 heavy strikes from the butt of any large slot weapon and they go down in a very similar time frame to using dusters. This idea that you somehow need dusters to kill immolators easily is an absolute myth. Experienced players know that the kind of weapons in your loadout will define what you take as your melee tool. I wouldn't take a regular knife if I'm using a Labelle Talon because then I'd be very limited with dealing with immolators. In general terms, you should probably stick with the basic knife. It will serve you very, very well. Item number 3 is another piece of gear, and I'm expecting this one to be a bit controversial. It's the chain pistol. Now on first glance, the chain pistol with fanning is overpowered. Every new player that I've played with loves it. You can spam 17 shots of fully automatic death, and it creates a stream of lead that few enemies can survive. Well, this weapon certainly has its advantages, and I can see why new players love it. You get lots of ammo in the clip that allows you to miss a lot and still kill something. That much ammo means you can spray down bosses and meatheads with ease, you can fish for wallbangs, and you can take on a whole team without a reload. The thing is, compared to many other pistols with fanning, the chain pistol isn't very accurate. You're going to miss a lot more of the shots because your crosshair is less focused. It will require more luck to actually land your shots unless the enemy is at point blank range, and you can empty the entire gun sometimes without landing a kill. There have been many times that I've had 17 shots fired at me, bam, 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 and I just haven't felt that threatened. I can still kill that chain pistol user unscathed because they're just out of their effective range, or they're firing indiscriminately without properly centering their crosshair. And I'm not saying don't use the chain pistol at all. If you're aware of this accuracy limitation, then you can still do well with it. And it does make you feel powerful, of course. But I encourage new players to try out fanning on the Nagant or the base Caldwell. They fire faster, fire tighter, and this means you can use the fanning at longer ranges than you might be used to. I know it contradicts my first point about silenced weapons, but the silenced Nagant is actually really good with fanning. It's like a little laser beam and fires so quickly and so accurately. Definitely worth trying it out. Our fourth noob trap is using sniper towers. I'm talking about these things.
I got Poochies on the road over here.
Tower is in tower.
Oh, shit,
Headshot.
shit. Oh, nice.
They are bad and they're going to get you killed. The cover is poor, so long ammo will penetrate and hit you, and you have extremely limited points to peek from, and it is difficult to get down and get away quickly without exposing yourself. Principles of good positioning are all about being able to move easily and peek multiple and unpredictable angles. In contrast, sniper towers are textbook bad positioning. They do have a purpose. I sometimes like to gain elevation and take a shot on an unsuspecting enemy, but once anyone knows that I'm in there, I have to leave immediately, because these things are absolute death traps. One last item on our list, and this is a tactic that I see all the time from new players. In fact, it's one of the first things that I'll give them advice on or correct if I'm playing with someone new, and it's unnecessarily killing sound traps. So, I get it. If you're new, you're probably scared that if you make noise then a team will come in and steamroll you, and you're right. You're not probably ready to go running around firing your gun at everything, taking on fights head to head. So you take every precaution to reduce the noise that you make. That horse on the ground, you silent shot it in the head. You use a lantern to burn those crows on the fence, and you use a decoy to break the lantern hanging over a dog cage, burning them alive. You've eliminated the sound traps in the compound, and now can move through silently. Well, it's not really silent because all that you just did made a fair bit of noise. Silently killing a dog kennel is actually really damn loud and obvious. Anyone near that compound, and depending on distance, sometimes the next compound over, will be able to pinpoint your position. Listen to how loud this is, and I'm not exactly close here. Unless a sound trap is really going to slow you down, or it's right on top of a clue, then it's almost always best to just avoid it. Everything in Hunt makes noise, so to maximize stealth, you need to minimize your interaction with the game world. I'm sure that you all have some additional thoughts on things that new players do that you might find frustrating, or some tips you want to hand out, so feel free to comment below. Remember that this video doesn't mean to say that silenced weapons are bad and the chain pistol is terrible, just that to new players, they seem really overrated and sometimes that can be to their detriment. If you like this video, please consider a like or subscribing, and check out our Discord community and Twitch channel linked in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ascendance from 4FS Gaming.